into the hands of chief priest. I now watch as the temple guard binds his hand and prepare to lead him away. I should have the sense of triumph, but I don't. Instead, I feel strangely empty. Not guilty, just unfulfilled. My mind returns to an earlier time when hope was as bright as the summer sun. In those days, I believed that Jesus could do anything. When he talked about the Father or the kingdom, my heart leaped within me. He made it all seem so immediate, so real. There were moments when I could almost believe that he was the chosen one. At those times, like Peter, I wanted to shout, "You are the Christ, the Son of living God." Yet, Jesus was incredibly naive. A politically astute person would have built on his popularity and seized the moment. But not Jesus. There were several times when masses were determined to make him the king. What did he do? He went into hiding for weeks at a time. We tried to reason with him, but to no avail. Although he talked about his kingdom constantly, every time he had a chance to be the king, he threw it away. After a while, it seemed there was no connection between what he taught and what he did, at least with regards to his kingdom. With an effort, I dismissed all thoughts of what might have been. It is too late. Let others judge me if they will. I know I did the only sensible thing under these circumstances. A guard now approached Jesus with the butt of his spear, and we move out. Leaving Gethsemane, we enter Jerusalem and make our way towards the house of Annas, the former high priest and the father-in-law of current high priest Caiaphas. Though an old man, he is the real authority behind the office. Finally, we arrive at the Annas' house. Two guards escort Jesus in, where he is confronted by the Annas and some elders. Our purpose in coming here is still not clear, as nothing official can be done. Since Annas has no legal authority, perhaps he is simply curious about Jesus. Outside, we huddle in small groups, talking in hushed voices. Soon, Jesus is led back in the courtyard, where he is surrounded by the armed guards. This time, there are no lanterns or torches, and absolute silence is maintained. As for Captain, it is imperative we attract no attention as we make our way towards the house of high priest. All this secrecy means one thing: they intend to try Jesus tonight, although secret trials are strictly forbidden by our law. It is obvious that this is exactly what Caiaphas has in his mind. This makes all sense. Who knows what might happen if the multitudes were to awaken in the morning and find Jesus in the hands of high priest and the elders? But if the proceedings are finished before the daybreak and Jesus is already in the custody of Romans, the Sanhedrin will have little to fear. Arriving at the house of the high priest, Jesus is soon taken into a large semicircular room. The Sanhedrin is already in session. Though I remain outside, the proceedings inside the lighted interior are clearly visible, being separated from the courtyard by a row of pillars. Moving to the far wall, I squat in the shadow. From here, I can see both the proceeding and the courtyard without being conspicuous. A movement in the dark catches my eye, and I watch as John moves towards the outer door of the courtyard. Furtively, he glances over his shoulder before opening the door. A large man emerges from the shadows beyond the wall and quickly steps inside. For an instant, he is framed in a light. With a start, I realized that it is Simon Peter. What is he doing here? He cannot be crazy enough to try to rescue Jesus. Such an attempt could be ludicrous. But still, it is the kind of thing Peter might attempt. But one thing for sure, I dare not to show him my face while he is around. Moving deeper in the shadow, I turn my attention back towards the trial. It is imperative. Things are not going well for the elders. A witness after witness is heard. Yet, they are not able to provide an evidence to which to condemn Jesus. Finally, the Caiaphas takes the matter into his own hands. Rising from the elevator seat, he addresses Jesus in his most judicial manner. I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God. In an instant, the atmosphere in the room changes. The weariness of long-awaited night gives rise to a sudden tension. Around the room, the elders and the chief priests lean forward. They sense Jesus himself might provide a condemning evidence which they were not able to produce. Caiaphas remained standing, towering over Jesus, willing him to incriminate himself. Only Jesus seemed unmoved. Yet, he too is different, energized somehow. It is a transformation I have seen before. First time I saw when he commanded the storm to cease, and again when he raised the widow's son from the dead. Yet, I have never seen such transcendent authority even when he commanded Lazarus to come forth. Yes, it is as you say, replies Jesus, his voice clear and distinct. But I say to all of you, in future you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the Mighty One, coming from the clouds of heaven. In an instant, the high priest gnashes his teeth and tears his robe in self-righteous rage. He has spoken blasphemy, he screams. Why do we need more evidence? In one voice, the Sanhedrin answers, he is worthy of death. Suddenly, all the hatred and jealousy they have harbored this many months erupt. Rushing forward, some spit on his face, others strike him with their fists. My reaction is different. It is not blasphemy that I have heard, but prophetic revelation. And now, the magnitude of what I have done hits me for the first time. It is not an impostor that I have delivered into the hands of religious authority, but the Messiah. I have betrayed the chosen one of God. In a stunned disbelief, I watch from the shadow as the guard binds Jesus and prepare him to deliver to Pontius Pilate. Though his beard is stiff with spittle and face bruised and bleeding, there is about Jesus the sense of dignity that bows his accusers. Wait! I scream, leaping to my feet and rushing towards the high priest. For just a moment, our eyes meet. Then he turns away in a disgust. In that instant, I see my condemnation written on his face. He has treated me for a fool, and now I am of no further use to him. Wait! I scream again, trying to force my way towards the guards who block my way. Reaching inside my garment, I grab the bag of silver coins and thrust it towards the high priest. Take this, I plead. Let Jesus go. He has done nothing worthy of death. Ignoring the coin, they restrain me, and Jesus is led away. Finally, when I'm released, I rush desperately from priest to priest begging, help me, for I have sinned. I have betrayed the innocent blood of my Lord. But it is of no use. My desperate plea falls on deaf ears. Finally, one of them sneers. What is that to us? It is your responsibility. These words are like dagger plunged in my heart. Grabbing the silver coin, I hurl them at their feet and rush into the street. And now, the awful weight of my treachery descends upon me afresh, and I stagger beneath the burden of my sin. It isn't just what I did, unspeakable though it was, but what I am. To my everlasting shame, I discover that the deed and I are one. Finally, I'm driven to flee, to run away. But where can I go? The thing I cannot escape is myself. This is hell, I think, to live with what I have done. Stumbling through the street, the voice of Jesus returned to haunt me. A son of man will go as it is written about him. But would that man who betrays the Son of Man, it would be better for him if he had not been born. In an absolute despair, I scream, I am damned, I am damned. After a long time, I find myself at the side of a steep hill, overlooking a deep ravine. A rope is in my hand. At one hand, I have fashioned a hangman's noose. I look the other hand over the branch of a tree, and when it is securely tied, I drop the noose over my head and draw it tight. Closing my eyes, I try to remember the face of my mother, but I cannot. Instead, I see his face. I see his eyes staring at me, not in anger, but in wounded love. The way he looked at me when I kissed him in Gethsemane. This is what I cannot bear, not his anger, but his love. And now I'm sobbing, weeping like a motherless child. But my tears cannot save me. It is too late, too late. I must pay for what I have done. And finally, with all my strength, I scream, help me, forgive me, I have sinned. I have betrayed the innocent blood of my Lord. And then I leap from the cliff. And in that final instant, before death claims me, it seems he is calling my name. Judas, he says, oh Judas.
His political career ended 6 years after he condemned Jesus to death. Following that shameful spectacle, his political career began a swift decline. After another incident, Vitellius, legate of Syria, sent Pilate to Rome, where his name disappears from the official history of Rome. The Christian historian Eusebius, however, says that soon afterwards, wearied with misfortunes, he took his own life.
These last few months have seen one crisis after another, all potentially disastrous to my career. I hate this place, the heat, the dust, the noise, and all the squalor. Most of all, I hate these mad Jews and their religious fanaticism. When I finish this term, I will not accept another. Let Emperor Tiberius find someone else to govern this God-forsaken place. Caiaphas and his fanatic band are here again. They have arrived to the fortress Antonia since it is Passover week, and they will not defile themselves by entering the unclean house of a Gentile, even if that be the Roman governor. I hate it. Still, I must not offend their Jewish sensibilities, lest they appeal to Herod, and he in turn appeals to Caesar. Caesar has made that clear enough. The cause of all this commotion seems to be a rather nondescript peasant. He is bound and closely guarded, but he does not appear to be dangerous. What has this man done? I demand impatiently. He is a criminal, of course, they respond. Why else would we bring him to you? Getting a straight answer from these Jews is impossible. Turning on my heel, I head back inside.
It did not
Take care of him yourselves, I snap. And if he's one of you, judge him by your own laws. They hastily shout after me. This man is plotting a rebellion against Rome and telling our people not to pay our taxes to Caesar. He even claims to be the king of the Jews. Though I would like to ignore them, I know I cannot. What if it turns out that this peasant is really a revolutionist? Caesar will have my head. I turn to a guard. Bring the prisoner to me. I want to interrogate him privately. I hear the guard return with the prisoner, but I do not turn to acknowledge his presence. It is an effective way to make a prisoner sweat, but when at length I confront him, he is not sweating. In fact, of everyone, myself included, he seems to be the only one at peace, and that despite being beaten badly. I wait for him to speak, to make his case. Instead, he simply looks at me, not defiantly, but it is obvious that he is not intimidated. Are you the king of the Jews? I ask. That depends on what you mean by king, he calmly replies. Why am I not surprised? He is a Jew, and they all talk in riddles. Let's not play word games, I respond, taking command. I have no patience for this. Looking at me intently, he says, my kingdom is not of this world. So you're a king then? I press him, hoping for a speedy resolution to this tiresome mess. For that reason, I was born. For that reason, I came into this world. I speak truth, and everyone who loves truth receives me. Raising one eyebrow, I sneer. Truth? What is truth? This man is no king. I am no threat to Caesar. There's not a political bone in his body. I can't imagine why the Sanhedrin is determined to see him put to death. I'm still weighing my options when my wife's maidservant delivers an urgent message from my wife. Taking a note, I read it quickly. Do not allow Caiaphas to draw you into his trap. In a dream, I have seen that this man is innocent. If you judge him otherwise, you will suffer the consequences. Despite the stifling heat, a chill runs up my spine, and I cannot stop my hand from trembling. Crumpling her disturbing note, I step onto the balcony and declare in a loud voice, I have examined this man, and I do not find him guilty of any crimes. Therefore, I will have him scourged, and then I will release him. This should satisfy their thirst for blood. I think the Roman whip is made of 9 tails of leather, braided with bits of bone and iron. Only the strong survive it. Roman law forbids the scourging of an innocent man, but I believe it is a reasonable compromise. Better to be scourged than to be crucified. No, the angry crowd screams, this man is an enemy of Caesar. Holding up my hand, I silence the crowd, reminding them it is customary to release a prisoner each year at the time of the Passover. I will release this man to you. But as with one voice, goaded by the religious elders, they began to chant, give us Barabbas! Give us Barabbas! In disgust, I stalked back into the palace. Barabbas is a notorious insurrectionist, and I'm not about to release him. Currently, I give the order for this Jesus to be scourged. I am troubled by Gloria's message. Although she's not a religious person, she has been known to see things before they happen. It would be wise not to ignore a warning. Pacing the marble floor of the palace, I search for a way to release this man without inciting the Jews to riot. Reports of political unrest in Judea must not reach the ear of Caesar. If they do, my career is finished. There's more to this case than meets the eye. If only I knew the real reason for the Sanhedrin's involvement. Hearing footsteps approaching, I turn and find myself confronted by a tragic figure. Not only has he been scourged, leaving his bleeding back a mutilated mass of raw flesh, but the soldiers have thrown a ragged robe of royal purple over his shoulder. For his head, they have fashioned a crown of cruel Judean thorns. I'm tempted to laugh. So ridiculous does he appear. But something in his eyes stopped me. By now, he should be a broken man, humbled by the might of Rome. Or he should be defiant, consumed with hate-filled rage. But he is neither. There is about him a sense of destiny that is deeply disturbing. I am the Roman governor, and he, a mere peasant. In my hand, I hold the power of life and death. Yet it feels as if I am on trial here, and not he. More determined than ever to release him, I take him by the arm and walk outside to face the restless crowd. Surely they can see that this beaten man is harmless, not deserving of death. In a loud voice I declare, behold the man! I can feel their rage almost before I hear it. Crucify him! They scream, crucify him! Their words strike me like physical blows, and for a moment I reel in stunned disbelief. But he is innocent, I feel. He has done nothing worthy of death. Rome does not crucify petty thieves or so-called holy men. The cross is reserved for slaves and revolutionaries. But they shout back, by our law, he deserves to die. He claims to be the Son of God, and for that, he must die. A God? Could I, a mere mortal, have been playing judge to a God? The thought of it strikes fear in my heart. In an instant, Claudia's message is made clear to me. But what can I do? I am a pawn in the hands of these mad Jews. They have trapped me between the wrath of Caesar and the vengeance of the gods. Taking Jesus by the arm, I escort him back into the palace to confront him once more. Where do you come from? I demand, desperate to know the truth. But he does not answer. and my fear gives way to anger. Why don't you answer me? Don't you realize I have the power to crucify you or to set you free? The only power you have over me.
In prison, awaiting execution, he was unexpectedly acquitted when the chief priest manipulated the people to ask Pilate to release him rather than Jesus as a Passover tradition.
It is early, just after sunrise. Thankfully, I'm awakened, for it has been a miserable night. I slept fitfully, terrorized by all too real dreams. And with an effort, I turned my attention to a better time. A time when I am a little boy walking the hillsides of Judea. Then I'm sharing the Passover in this very city with my family. Just like these memories, another memory comes to mind that defines my life. My mother is weeping. My father cannot speak. These Romans, they have killed my brother, the firstborn in my family. Though I know it will be long before it comes to any fruition. The Romans say that I am an insurrectionist, and they may be right, but I believe that I am a patriot. Some suggest a zealot, a man who would die for the freedom of his nation. This may have been true in my younger years, but a lot has changed ever since. Hate replaced love. Talks about killing replaced that of dying. And then there was only killing. It was first the hated Romans, then the tax collectors, and the collaborators. And then it was anyone who got in my way. In the process, I learned a bitter truth. Every time I killed, a part of me that was good died. And finally, there was only killing left. The man who killed became a killer, what the Romans called a revolutionist. For a while, I believed I was doing this to avenge my brother's death. But then soon, I started to do it because I had become the killer. The first time I took the life of a Roman, I felt sick to my stomach. But soon I got over it. And then I started to relish it. And finally, I needed it. I was consumed by the lust for blood, and not necessarily just a Roman. As I near the last days of my life, I believe I have become the very person I set out to destroy. In the distance, a guard barks an order, jerking me from my gloomy thoughts. Finally, the cell door swings open, groaning on its rusty hinges. Through the dim light, I can see my fellow prisoner, led by the Roman guards, shackled. He is trying to be brave, but there is more than a fit of fear I see in his eyes. The same fear that I've seen in that of trapped animals. Shortly the guards return. Another prisoner is taken. The scene is repeated. The same sounds, the same false courage, the same sick fear. Same sick fear. And same sick fear. Another guard dies at the hands of the bloody Romans. Finally, I am the only man left in the cell. The guards come towards me and order me curtly. I am feeling like I need to leap upon them, but I resist my urges. I resist my urges. And to my amazement, the guard snarls and says, "You are free. The governor has given you pardon. Someone else will die in your place." I am stunned. I cannot believe my ears. This is too good to be true. I am dumbstruck. And then I run and dance like I'm a free man. I'm alive. I'm not going to die. And then I stagger up to the morning light. Even at this hour, the streets are jammed with people. I flow through, letting the crowd take me. And near me is a man. I ask, "Where are these people going?" "To the place called the Skull," he says. "There's going to be a crucifixion." That being the last place I would want to go, I make my way to the edge of the crowd, escaping into the narrow and twisting streets. I lose myself, and it doesn't matter because I am alive, I am free. My eyes drink in the colorful sight like a thirsty man gulping down cool water. I can taste freedom on my tongue. I can breathe freedom through my nostrils. I'm alive. I'm free and I dance away, kissing strangers at random. But as fate would have it, I emerge at the Via della Rosa just in time when the mob is making its way up the hill. Once again, I feel I need to go, but something holds me back. Maybe it's the morbid curiosity of this man who will be dying in my place. Catching sight, I see a narrow staircase on which I climb halfway, soon to be accompanied by the shop's proprietor. From a distance, I can see front and center my comrades holding and bearing the cross on which they will die. Several places behind, a third man, he is brutally beaten to an extent that he's unrecognizable. He is bearing my cross, the cross on which I was supposed to die. As I watch, this man staggers after a few steps and falls due to the heavy weight of the cross. A Roman soldier lashes out his deadly whip, biting into his bloody back. Involuntarily I cringe. Even at that distance, I can hear hard leather on raw flesh. Finally, this man is on his knees. For the second time he falls. Even the threat of a deadly whip cannot empower this man to rise. Angrily, the soldier makes the close bystander carry this fallen man's cross. And that's a good thing because this man is in no condition to lift that cross by himself. Finally, this man is on his feet. An impatient soldier barks an order. Another cracks a deadly whip. Without any delay, the death march continues and is resumed. What, I wonder, has this man done to receive such inhumane treatment? Even my comrades who are revolutionaries, murderers, have not been treated like him. Surely he must be a deadly assassin. At this moment, these convicted Men are walking below us in the narrow street. I hurry down the stairs, pushing and making my way across the crowd. Though this is the last place I would want to be, but I am gripped by a compelling curiosity about this man who will die in my place. After the final ascent, we reach the place known as the skull. The crucifixion begins. Hard Roman hands hold down prisoners. Heavy hammers strike large spikes, splintering raw flesh and bone. Blood splatters. Women weep. The crowd goes mad. Watching him suffer, the only thought that comes in my mind is that should have been me. That cross was mine to bear. After a time, the light dims and fades, and I make my way from the hill down towards the city. Now there is no more laughter. There is no more exuberant dancing. There is no more kissing strangers at random. But his death is on my tongue. Yes, his death. I wander aimlessly, now fleeing and from these haunting thoughts that I've seen, and the memory of his stark image of his abused body lying like an eagle on the Roman cross. I am glad I am alive, but there is a lingering guilt inside me, and a question haunts me. Why do I have to live while he dies in my place?
As a capital offense in Roman law, unless it was committed in conjunction with acts of terrorism or insurrection. The thing that sets this criminal apart from his partner in crime is his faith. While others were losing their faith, he found his and prayed to Jesus to remember him when he came into his kingdom.
I hear the clatter of armor as the guards approach my cell. Today is the day of my execution, and they are coming from me. Now the time is at my hand. I find I'm afraid, not so much of dying, for I have grown weary with my life, but being so dead. If I'm sure that death could end it all, I could go to my appointed hour more bravely, but uncertainty is on the way. What if there is left if I call to give the accounts for the things I have done and the sins I have committed? Roughly, the guards order me from my cell, jerking me from my troubling thoughts. Bowing my mind, I mumble a hasty prayer that I may be strong and death may come more quickly. Momentarily, I am filled with a regret. It wasn't supposed to end like this. Fleetingly, I wonder what my life would have been like had I chosen a different path. There might have been a wife and even children, though mostly have been mostly a homeless person. Now I earn for the comfort of family. Thoughts of my misspent life weigh heavy upon my shoulders as the soldiers escort me out of the dungeon. Stepping into the street, I am momentarily blinded by the morning light. It has been weeks since I have seen anything other than the inside of the Roman cell. As my eyes adjust, I marvel at the beauty of the holy city. The temple towers gleam against the bright blue of the sky. And it is the earth, the doors of shops and the houses which catch my eye. An order is given, and two soldiers place a cross upon my shoulders as we prepare to march to the place of death. Looking around, I see I am one of the 3 convicts who will be executed for this crime against the Romans. Though the routine is very unfamiliar to me, we will be paraded to the street so that populace can see us and what happens to those who dare to oppose Caesar. And we will be crucified in public place. Of the other 2 men, one is the compatriot and second is a stranger. I hear he is the prophet who claims to be the king of Jews. A serious offense in a Roman Empire. From the looks of him, he has had a bitter taste of Roman justice, a bitter taste. From the head of the column, the centurion barks an order as we prepare to move out. The pace is slow on account of the stranger. He has been beaten nearly to death. Nor my compatriot, neither I have been scourged, for which I am grateful. After a torturous climb, we finally arrive at the place of the skull. The 2 vertical beams have been permanently erected, and now they are standing ominously against the Judean sky. A stark reminder is what is to come. The 2 Roman soldiers shot me down to pin my arm against the rough timber. Obscenity spewed from my compatriot lips as he spit at the soldier who was holding me at this place. I turn away, for I do not want to see, and I pray that I may die with more dignity. I do not want to give these Roman soldiers seeing me cringe of fear or pain. I feel the pain heavy in my spike. To gritted truth, I groan in spite of my determination not to. The same process is repeated with my other arm. Then I am dragged vertically and the cross being hoisted up to receive nails. For what seems a long time I hang there, drifting in and out of consciousness. Finally, to the hellows age of my feverish pain, I hear the coarse joking of soldiers and followed by a rowdy laughter. Looking down, I see an older woman who stares at the stranger that look that can only belongs to a mother. I turn away, for I cannot bear that hurt I see in her eyes. It reminds too much of what I saw in my mother's eyes. A suffering only son could put there. Even in my agony, I am fascinated by the stranger who is dying on the cross beside mine. Those who come to see him suffer hate him with a fearful intensity, and those who stand him and revere him. What I can gather that he claims to be the Son of God, an unlikely possibility, but the one who does not let go my mind. How did the prophet put in when they're speaking about the Messiah? Something about bearing mankind's sins and making an intercession for transgressors? Is that man is doing now? Suffering for my sins? Another fragment of scripture learned in childhood now returns to my mind in the hour of death. The whole of it escapes, but only fractions are there. The Lord is laying on all our iniquities on a sheep. Perhaps it is people who stray like sheep. From a distance through haze of pain, I hear my compatriot screaming in helplessness and rage. Aren't you Christ? He shrieks, so act like it and save yourself and save us. Aren't you afraid of God? I ask my heavy voice with my own suffering. considering we both are subject to die. Gathering my strength, I continue. We both are getting for what we deserve. But this man has done no crime, he is innocent. He falls silent, for I cannot tell what he is thinking. For me, my thoughts are racing. If this man is really the Son of God, then he holds my eternal destiny in his bleeding hands. My mind screams in protest. How can I think such a thing? He is a man as I am, and dying in the hands of hated Romans could be the broken piece of humanity, the savior of mankind. Reason says no, no, but faith says yes, yes. Having made that leap in my mind, grapples for a new thought. Why would the Son of God have the time for the likes of me? What do I need to offer him? A sordid past of hate and a blood stained with sin? Nothing more except my need. Still, faith finds its voice. With trembling lips, I call upon him. I do not ask for his mercy, for I don't deserve. No forgiveness, for my way of thinking that my sins must be past forgiving. No, no. All I dare to ask is, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. In response to my plea, he promises me a place in his kingdom. I tell you the truth, he says, today he will be with me in paradise. In an instant I am forgiven, I am transformed, I am a new man. Although my hands and feet are pinned to the Roman cross, I am new. I am a new man, I am free and freer than I ever been. I am dying, yet for the first time in my life I am alive. I am truly alive. My strength is waning fast, and in the deepening shadows, I feel the presence of death. Yet, I am no longer afraid. Moments ago, I was dying alone, but now I share the promise of eternal. To the one who is dying is a defeat of death. As the end draws near, I cling more tightly to his promise, discovering as I do that death is no longer to be feared. My physical body may be dying, but my spirit is just passing from one realm to another. Beyond the gloom, I see a scarred hand reaching for mine, and a familiar voice bid me to come. In the light beyond, I hear the sound of music and dancing.
The execution of rabble-rousers is hardly what I had in mind when I enlisted in Caesar's elite forces. Yet that is what I find myself doing since coming to this God-forsaken place. Judea is arguably the worst posting in the empire. It is inhabited by rebellious people who seem determined to destroy themselves. On more than one occasion, Pilate have been forced to order us to spill their blood. Unfortunately, even this show of military might did little to mend their ways. Today, I'm overseeing the crucifixion of two thieves and the King of the Jews. Or that is what the sign on his cross says: Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Apparently, the governor wants everybody to know who he is, for the charge is written in 3 languages: Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. It is a good joke, for he is like no king I've ever seen. And him being from Nazareth is the best part. It's hardly the place of kings and is known more for his crudeness than royalty. So much so, even the Jews say, can anything good come out of Nazareth? I am a soldier, not an executioner. Still, I must admit that Rome has perfected the art of crucifixion. We adopted it from the Phoenicians, who were the first ones to use it. They preferred it to boiling in oil, impalement, stoning, strangulation, drowning and burning, which all kill too swiftly. The cross, in contrast, is a slow and painful form of execution. Earlier times, common soldiers served as executioners, but this proved too demoralizing for the troops that official executioners were assigned to each garrison. He nods to let me know the prisoners are in position and the crucifixion is about to begin. Grimly, I give the command and move to the far side of the hill. I am not squeamish, but I've grown tired of this gruesome ritual. Though my back is turned, I see it all in my mind's eye. The crossbeam is fitted beneath the prisoner's shoulders, and his arms are extended along his length. Soldiers hold them down while the executioner, with his right hand, prods along the wrist to find a little hollow spot where the so-called lifeline ends. Once he finds it, his movements are swift and sure. Taking a 5-inch square-cut iron nail from the apron around his waist, he positions it and drives it through the hand and into the cross in a single blow. He repeats the process with the other arm. Standing to his feet, he motions for the soldiers, who accordingly lift the crossbeam into place on the upright beam which is already planted in the ground, thus forming a cross. Next, the executioner kneels before the cross and with the assistance of the soldiers positions the prisoner's right foot on top of the left, taking care to make sure his legs are bent at the knees. With a measured blow, he drives a third 5-inch spike through both feet and into the hardwood. Until now, the condemned man has not uttered a word. An unprecedented feat in the executioner's experience. Victims of crucifixion usually die raving like mad men. In extreme cases, their tongues are cut to silence them. As he turns toward the next prisoner, the dying man finally speaks. Although dehydration has left his tongue stiff as a stick, there is no mistaking his words. Father, he cries, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. His words take me by surprise, and I turn to stare at him. There is something different about this crucifixion. Of that, I am sure. I can feel it. There is about the so-called King of the Jews a certain dignity, a sense of self that neither beating nor nudity can diminish. Even the executioner senses it, and he pauses in his grisly ritual. Looking uncomfortable, he studies the man on the cross, while holding the implements of death in his hands. To his knowledge, no one has ever prayed for him. At other crucifixions, he has been cursed and reviled, but never forgiven. Not before today. With a grunt, he turns against his second prisoner, who curses loudly. Though he struggles mightily, it is of no use. In a matter of minutes, he too is crucified. With equal ease, the third prisoner is sent toward his death. And now, there are 3 crosses silhouetted against the darkening sky. Now comes the worst part, the waiting. It usually takes hours for even the weakest man to die. I lose myself in my work. According to Roman law, the effects of the condemned person are confiscated by the state. Custom allows a soldier assigned this duty to divide the spoils. Accordingly, I toss a pair of well-worn sandals to one, and to another a faded cloak. I continue this process until all that remains is a tunic belonging to the one called Jesus. It is an unusual garment, seamless and very expensive. Rather than tear it into pieces to be divided among the soldiers, I decide they should cast lots for it. As the soldiers gather around, I notice that the light seems to be fading, though it is not yet midday. I watch as the soldiers roll the cube bones, but I grow weary of their contrastability, and once again return to my solitary place at the edge of the hill. Like rivers rushing to the sea, my attention returns to the center cross, and the man dying there. With fascination, I watch as pain and exhaustion push him to the point of unconsciousness. His head lolls forward, causing his chin to rest against his chest. His entire weight now hangs by the nails in his hands, causing him excruciating pain. Even as he forces his arms into a V position. From where I stand, I can see cramps knot the muscles in his hands and shoulders, causing him to twist in pain. Momentarily, the pectoral muscles at the sides of his chest are paralyzed. He can inhale, but he cannot exhale. Frantically, he raises himself on his wounded feet until his entire weight is now supported by that single spike. With his hands now lined with the shoulders, his breathing comes in ragged gasps. Desperately, he fights the ghastly pain in his wounded feet for as long as he can, enduring severe cramps in his thighs and legs in order to breathe for a moment more. Then he can bear the searing pain no longer. His weight sags against the nails, and this whole excruciating process begins again. Painful though the spike wounds are, yet never fatal, nor is a limited loss of blood they cause. Death, when it comes in the form of asphyxiation. Even a hardened witness as myself can only bear so much, and I turn to give my overwrought emotions a much needed reprieve. And as I turn, I see that it is much darker now, though the sun is nearly at its height. Glancing around, I see my fear mirrored in the faces of the onlookers who lingered to await the end. We are a diverse group, made up of pagans and priests, weeping women and malicious mockers. Saint or sinner, it makes no difference now. In the deepening darkness, fear stalks us all. Suddenly there is absolute blackness and silence, except for the accusing voices within. A host of malignant memories set upon me, 100 fingers point in accusation, a choir of discordant voices scream, "You are the one!" For how long this continues, I do not know. Forever, it seems. And then there is absolute silence. And the air is still. Death still, as if nature itself were holding its breath. Deeper grows the darkness. Then out of the darkness comes a haunting cry, hoarse and hurting. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. I remain for my God, why have you forsaken me? Beneath me, the earth heaves and pitches like a sea in the midst of a storm, driving me to my knees. Though my strength is nearly gone, something inside pushes me toward the center cross. On my hands and knees, I inch forward, fumbling and feeling my way like a blind man. After what seems an eternity, I finally bump into it. My face rubbing hard against the coarse splinters. To my amazement, I discover that the ground beneath the cross is solid, while all around it, the earth quakes. In the darkness, I feel his blood dripping on my face, and with it comes an inexplicable peace. How long I kneel there, embracing his cross, I do not know. After a time, light begins to enter, a little at first, and then more. Glancing around, I see that most of the onlookers have left. The women remain huddled together, their eyes fixed upon me. Suddenly, the silence and half-light my spirit. One final breath whistles to his clenched teeth. His weight sags against the nails, and he is still. It makes no sense at all, but I'm absolutely convinced that he is who he claimed to be, God's Son. And I lift my voice to join his. With all the reverence that I am capable of, I give voice to the deepest conviction of my soul. Surely this man was the Son of God.
The only sounds are the gentle lapping of the waves against the boat and the creak of the oars. I'm in the boat, wrestling with my thoughts. These past few days have been emotionally draining, leaving me numb with fatigue. One moment we are standing in dumb amazement as Jesus calls Lazarus from a 4-day hiatus with death. The next moment, we're blind with grief as Jesus dies on the cross, taking all our hopes and dreams with him. For 2 nights and a day, we cower in fear behind locked doors, desperately trying to find a reason to go on living. Then, on the dawn of the 3rd day, Mary Magdalene comes rushing, as if she's possessed again, to shock us with a report that the body of Jesus was missing from the tomb. John and I rush to investigate, and we find the tomb empty, with the linen cloths lying there, but the napkin for the head neatly rolled up. We return home not knowing what to make of it. Then she comes back rushing again to shock us with a new report. This time she claims that she has seen 2 angels and the Lord himself. Poor Mary. I know she loved the Lord as much as I did. And I can imagine what his death must have done to her. She does succeed in pushing us even further into our shell of fear and despair. Just when we are beginning to think all is lost, Jesus puts in a surprise appearance, offering us peace and empowering us to forgive sins. We are obviously terrified, thinking he's a ghost.
Extending his hands, he shows us his wounds and says, "It is truly me. Go ahead, touch me. See, I have flesh and bones. I am no ghost." Thomas, who was missing that evening, refused to believe any of us, and I don't blame him. I can't say I believed it myself when I saw Jesus, even 8 days later, when Thomas had to declare, "My Lord and my God." Whenever he appeared, the others excitedly rushed forward to touch Jesus. But I hang back. What right do I have to share in this joyous celebration? Once I would have been by his side, but no more. I can see Jesus truly forgiven me. I can see it in his eyes. The problem is, I cannot forgive myself. Thinking about this now, my face burns with shame and contempt. And I'm thankful for the darkness. How naive my old promises are in retrospect. How pitiful my cowardly performance was in the courtyard of Caiaphas. How could I deny him so easily? After all the signs and mighty works that I've seen him do in my presence and in my sight, I saw him transfigured in glory, clothed with the sun on the mountain, speaking to Moses and Elijah. I heard the voice of Yahweh call from a mysterious cloud above. Why, I myself have worked wonders in his name, and to think that he was planning to entrust his kingdom into my hands, into the hands of a betrayer. How would I ever be able to forget the crowing of the rooster? Or the way Jesus turned and looked at me soon after? There was no condemnation in his eyes, only love, a faithful love. And it made my faithlessness even more insufferable. Fleeing the courtyard, I went into the night and wept bitterly. Pushing these thoughts away from my mind, I now listen to the waves again. It's been a wasted night as far as fishing goes. We have toiled all night and caught nothing. Yet, it is good to return to familiar haunts, to where we were and what we did before Jesus called us to follow him. The sky is growing light when I see a figure on the beach. I can't be sure, but he seems to be squatting next to a small fire. Looking up, he catches sight of us and calls, "Have you caught anything?" "No," someone hollers back. "Try the other side of the boat," he says. Suddenly, the memory of another futile night of fishing comes rushing back. The same nonsensical command, grudging compliance, and a great catch. So much, it threatened to capsize Zebedee's boat. I remember trembling with a holy fear, for I realized that it was no mere mortal that shared our boat. Although it would be many months later when I would declare him to be the Christ. Jesus looks at me, and he had a better plan for me that evening. He called me to follow him. "Fear not," he said. "Follow me, and I will make you a fisher of men." That's how it all began. This amazing adventure. Pulling our boats ashore, we left everything. That is, Andrew and I, and the sons of Zebedee. Now, it is happening all over again. The same ridiculous command, futile night of fishing, and a miraculous catch of fish. Can that be anyone but Jesus standing there on the shore beside the fire? Can this be his way of telling us that his plans for our lives are still valid, that our dreams are not dead? Once again, I'm overwhelmed in my sinfulness. Only this time, I do not wish for him to go away. No, I will go to him. Wrapping my garments around my waist, I jump into the water and swim with all my might towards the shore. Staggering the last few yards, to my feet, I'm upon the beach. I see his eyes. They're full of love. I also see the fire and the making of breakfast. Bread baking in the bowls, fish cooking. A breeze is blowing and it brings me the smell of wood smoke. And the aroma of hot bread. Suddenly, I am hungry and I realize that I've not had an appetite since we shared supper in the upper room. He asked for some of the fish we had just caught. So leaping back into the boat that the others had just reached, I begin hauling the net ashore. Joyously, we start counting the fish. 153 in all, while Jesus finishes preparing breakfast. Having eaten our fill, we're lounging on the beach when Jesus turns and calls me, solemnly but surely, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? He asked, pointing to the others. What can I say? I loved him more than I loved anyone. I do love him more than others. But was it not I that falsely assured him that even if the others should fail, I would not falter? But I did falter and I failed miserably. Instead of declaring my undying devotion to Jesus, I simply say, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. His answer to that seemed really strange. Feed my lambs. After a seemingly long pause, Jesus repeats the question. Simon, son of John, do you love me? Again, I simply declare, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. This time he says, tend my sheep. I can't understand why he keeps linking my love for him with his sheep. But I think the matter is now settled. Once again, he repeats the question. Simon, son of John, do you love me more than others? Again, this time I am grieved to the heart. But I think I know what Jesus is doing. Was it not I that denied him 3 times? He's helping me forgive myself by helping me declare my undying love and commitment and fidelity for him. I reply, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. This time, he looks deeper into my eyes, holds me in his glance and says, feed my sheep. I know now that I am truly forgiven and restored to a relationship with Jesus. But it's not just any restoration. He's calling me to restore others to a relationship with him. I did not understand this back at Caesarea Philippi when Jesus said, and I tell you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. I know now what he meant at Caesarea Philippi. He has just made me the chief shepherd of his flock. Jesus smiles, takes both of my hands in his, and says, "When you are old, Peter, you will stretch your hands, and another will take you to a place where you do not wish to go." Anyone that has seen Calvary knows exactly what the stretching of hands mean. Once I tried to dissuade Jesus from going to Jerusalem to die, but he did go and he did die. But here he is, risen and alive. I will gladly follow his final word to follow him. From now on, to live is for Jesus, and to die is for Jesus. And when I stretch my hand, it will be for his glory and for his sheep that he has entrusted into my hands.
Thoughts of my son and what's to become of him. In my mind, I've replayed Simeon's faithful prophecy again and again. I've accompanied my sister Salmi, the mother of James and John, to Jerusalem for the Passover. I had hoped to see Jesus, though if the rumors I've heard are true, it would not be wise for him to risk making an appearance. By the time I arrived, late Wednesday afternoon of the Passover week, the city was wild with rumors. Jesus was reported to be here, but no one knows where. After his triumph entry into the city on Sunday, he cleansed the temple on Monday, throwing out the money changers and sellers. On Tuesday, he dared to return to the temple to teach the people. Early Wednesday he spoke, but then he disappeared, with good reason, for the chief priests are determined to put him to death. I hear that he will be celebrating the Passover with his disciples on Thursday, and I do hope he slips away after that. But in my heart, I know that it is not to be. The sword of which Simeon spoke is already doing its deadly work. With great effort, I force myself to think of more pleasant things, like the night when my firstborn son came into the world. It wasn't a difficult birth, as births go, and still, I didn't have anyone to help me except Joseph. And you know how helpless men can be at times like that. It's not the primitive stable, or the bitter cold that I remember, or even my fear. All of that was forgotten as soon as I heard Jesus cry. There wasn't any water in the stable, so I used fresh straw to wipe him clean. Then I tore strips of cloth from a nearly new blanket and wrapped him in them. Joseph made a cradle of the manger and we laid him there. I don't think I've ever been as happy as I was that night. 40 days later, after the time of our purification, according to the law of Moses, we took Jesus to the temple to present him to the Lord. I wish we could have afforded a lamb, but all we could manage was 2 young pigeons. And still, I was so proud, especially when Simeon blessed him. Then he began to prophesy, and my blood ran cold. "Behold, this child," he said, "is destined for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and for a sign that is spoken against." And in the same breath, and within the same sentence, as if my destiny and that of Jesus was intimately and inextricably united into one reality, he continued saying, "And a sword will pierce through your own soul also, that thoughts out of many hearts may be revealed. My motherly instinct screamed, "Danger!" Joseph tried to calm me, but I knew better. It was to be many years before my fears were fully realized. There were times when I could even forget about that fateful prophecy, so ordinary did life seem. Jesus was good with his hands and seemed at home in the carpentry shop. Still, I know that it's only a matter of time, and as the years passed by, I sensed a growing restlessness in him. One evening, just weeks before he turned 30, as I was returning from the well where I had gone to draw water, I saw Jesus emerge from the shop. Turning towards the west, he wearily stretched his arms wide, casting the shadow of a cross fall on the wall behind him. In that instant, I knew that Jesus was going to die, and I knew the way he would die. Simeon's prophecy came to my mind afresh. With increasing frequency, he began rising early and spending many hours in meditation at some lonely place. Even though he had always managed to work hard and support us, especially after Joseph passed away. On one such occasion, he was away for some time. Then someone brought the news that he had been baptized in the Jordan by Elizabeth's son, the one people call the Baptist, who had declared that Jesus is the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. He witnessed with his own eyes how pure white dove descended on Jesus as he emerged from the water, with a voice accompanied from heaven that said, "You are my Son, whom I love. With you I am well pleased." For several weeks we didn't hear anything more. Later, I learned that Jesus had fasted and prayed while battling the tempter in the wilderness for 40 days. He then began preaching throughout the synagogues in Galilee. When he did return to Nazareth, he joined me for a wedding in Cana. And there, at my request, he worked his first miracle. I was so glad. Yet my heart ached, for I knew that when he worked his first miracle, his disciples would soon begin to believe that he is the Messiah, and his ministry would begin. Israel would gain its only Messiah, and I would lose my only child. I remember how at the age of 12, he pointed out that he must be about his father's business. And so I insist that he works his first miracle and begin the hour. I must let go of him as much as he must let go of me. He then visited a synagogue in Nazareth, where he was rejected and almost thrown down the hill, but he walked away unharmed. From that day on, he went down to Capernaum and made Simon Peter's house his headquarters. I'm so glad he was spared that day, but I know it is only a matter of time until they kill him. My thoughts are suddenly interrupted by a frantic pounding at the door. It is John, Salome's youngest son, and he brings grave news. Jesus has been arrested and is being taken to Pilate, the Roman governor. Frantically we follow John through the winding streets toward the governor's palace. By the time we arrive, a crowd has gathered there, and their mood is ugly. Working our way through the mob, we We managed to position ourselves near the front. We are standing directly under the governor's balcony when they lead Jesus out. At the sight of him, I nearly faint. What have they done to him? I cry, unable to tear my eyes from his mutilated face. His lips are a bloody pulp. One eye is swollen, completely shut. On his head, thrust far down, is a cruel crown of 3-inch Judean thorns. A discarded robe of purple is carelessly thrown about his shoulders, making the mockery complete. His back is ripped to shreds, the work of a Roman whip. Motioning the crowd to be silent, Pilate says, "Here is your king." At that, the mob goes mad. "Crucify him!" they scream. "Crucify him!" "Shall I crucify your king?" he asks. As with one voice, they shout, "We have no king but Caesar." Seeing he cannot prevail, Pilate orders Jesus put to death. We watch in stunned disbelief as the soldiers lead Jesus away. Numbly, we follow them up the Via Dolorosa, out the city gates, to a skull-shaped hill called Golgotha. There they crucify him. They strip him and they nail him to a cross. As the executioner swings his heavy hammer, I turn away, burying my face in my cupped arms, while spasms of grief rack my tortured soul. Shouted orders of the soldiers mingle with the tortured screams of the condemned, and are joined with the grief-stricken wails of the family and friends. Worst are the taunts of the religious leaders. "He saved others," they sneer. "Let him now save himself. Let him come down and save himself if he is the Christ of God, the chosen one." Others mock him, saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days. Come down now from the cross. If you are Christ, if you are the King of Israel, come down and save yourself, so that we may see and believe." Such cruelty, such hatred, I have never seen. Then, in the midst of that cesspool of hatred, I hear the sound of love. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Like a magnet, his voice draws me. I look full at my firstborn son. In that instant, Simeon's sword pierces my heart anew. My pain and grief are unbearable, yet there is something else too. A wordless hope, an inner conviction, too intangible to be defined, yet too real to be denied. What he does, I must do too. As he forgives his tormentors, I must forgive them too. Somehow, I know that he is not a helpless captive, but a willing sacrifice. In a way that I cannot explain, I totally understand that this execution is not simply a miscarriage of human justice. just decree of the pure God. For this reason was he born. He is the Lamb of God, doing what he came to do, suffering for the sins of his people, and I must suffer with him. Caiaphas, Pilate, the Roman soldiers, even the bloodthirsty mob are not his executioners. They are mere instruments in the hand of God. This execution is God's doing. A terrible but a vital part of God's eternal plan. Knowing this does not make my grief less. For 30 years, I was close to his body, feeding it, being nourished by his presence. And now, I look at his body, torn apart, wounded, spat upon and scourged, disfigured by pain and blood, crowned with thorns. And yet, I must join my will with that of my Son, as he offers his body for his people. I move closer to the foot of the cross, where he can see me. Looking downward, his gaze finds me, and for a moment, we hold each other with our eyes. He then looks at John and says to me, "Woman, behold your son." And to John he says, "Behold your mother." And in that instant, I understand, as I'm sure John does too, that he was asking me to bear in my heart the pains that he bears in his body, and to give birth to a second born, his disciples, his brothers and sisters, his church. What can I say but yes? I am the handmaid of the Lord. Let his holy will be done in my life.